Good day. I'm Chris Shansing, live at MSNBC headquarters in New York City. A nightmare of historic proportions is unfolding in Florida right now. The eye of Hurricane Ian is on the verge of making landfall on the state's heavily populated West Coast.
Look at all these cars that were parked in an orderly fashion that are floating. You guys were just talking about storm surge. For most people, that feels like a flood. This is storm surge. This is the ocean coming into Naples. In the last hour, we got shelter-in-place alerts on our phones. Do not go anywhere. Do not attempt to go anywhere. Bill Cairns was talking about the fact that it takes 6 inches to float a car. We've now got at least, look at the cars over there. We're at 4 feet now, maybe 4.5.
Good day. I'm Chris Shansing, live in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. This state, home to one of the most critical and closely fought Senate races in the entire country. And you can't go far in this town without finding someone with a strong political opinion. But that doesn't mean their minds are made up. How many of you have decided on every single person you're going to vote for? No. I talked to a panel of Cleveland area voters, all of them still waiting to cast their ballots, about why they're still on the fence and whether the brutal attack on Paul Pelosi might play a role in pushing them off. As we speak, polling from Real Clear Politics shows the candidates in 5 Senate races separated by 3 points or less, including the one here between Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance. But are voters happy with the choices that are out there? We'll talk about that and why millions of voters are identifying as independents and splitting their tickets potentially, a phenomenon not just here in Ohio, but in critical races around the country that could make the difference. I want to bring in NBC's Ellison Barber, who is on the road in Georgia, traveling from one Walker event to the next.
It's been interesting to see how some of this is playing out amongst Walker supporters. There was a fairly large crowd. There were at least 200 people there to see Herschel Walker, an energetic crowd, and they seemed largely unfazed by these latest allegations. Chris.
Thank you so much. I'll let you go back and have your conversations with your producer, who I assume is driving, but I'm sure we'll check in with you later on in the afternoon from that next event. Thank you so much, and hi to Dan.
Right now, at this hour, Democrats control 46 Senate seats. Republicans control 47 seats. And there are 4 key Senate races that have not yet been called. Arizona at this hour, too early to call. Nevada has the same characterization. Too early to call.
Wisconsin right now, too close to call. And Georgia is also too close to call, even to decide whether there will be a runoff. I want to go right to NBC national political correspondent Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, we've had action just since we talked to you, 40 minutes ago or so. Tell us where things stand.
Yeah, well, you mentioned at the top, the biggest single piece of news in that time is the concession from Sean Patrick Maloney, the chair of the DCCC. I mean, the irony is unbelievable here.
It's the culmination of nearly 18 months of investigations that included more than 100 subpoenas, 1,200 witnesses, and more than 1 million pages of records. I want to bring in NBC Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale, who has exclusive reporting on today's proceedings. NBC's Vaughn Hilliard is at Mar-a-Lago. Carol Lamb is a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst, and Matthew Dowd, founder of the group Country Over Party and an MSNBC political contributor. So, Ali, tell us more what you've learned in this exclusive reporting.
We expect them to not just lay out the culmination of their findings after 18 months of investigating, but also where we expect to see them vote on criminal referrals, including for former President Donald Trump.
This is an individual who, if the DOJ were to take up these criminal referrals and attempt to indict the former president of the United States, so far to date in the 2 years since leaving the White House has done very little to defend himself on these potential charges.
I'm sorry, let me stop right now because we do have this breaking news just coming in from Buckingham Palace. Queen Elizabeth II has died just hours after her doctor said they were concerned for her health. Good day. I'm Chris Shansing, live at Buckingham Palace, and you are watching MSNBC's special coverage of the death of Queen Elizabeth. It is 6 p.m., coming up on 6 p.m. here in London, and we are coming to the end of this country's first official day of mourning. The feeling here, somber, reflective. People have been coming, laying flowers, some saying prayers, leaving cards, taking time to honor a woman who who has been a part of their lives as long as they can remember. But the British mantra, keep calm and carry on, still holds true. And just as Thursday marked the end of an era, today marks the start of a new one.